Welcome to Creator Debates, where we normally have stupid arguments to help creators make smart decisions. Today is going to be a little bit different of an episode. I am doing a solo episode today. I've never done one of these before, technically. And I just wanted to kind of open up about something that I've been internally debating. As you all know, or maybe you don't know, but my name is Justin Moore, and I run a business called Creator Wizard, where I help creators find and negotiate their dream sponsorships. My business has been growing over the last 3 or 4 years, and it's been very exciting. But it's also come with a lot of fear, I would say. For a little bit of backstory, I ran an influencer marketing agency for about 7 years, had multiple employees, and when COVID happened, it crushed the business. I had to lay everyone off. And I have a lot of trauma from that, actually. It's funny because, this business started growing I was very surprised by it. When I started making YouTube videos to help people with sponsorships, I never thought this is gonna be my next business. I'm gonna make a bunch of money from this. Being a sponsorship coach or helping people in that way was novel. It still is novel because people just really couldn't understand what that meant. I'm not a manager, I'm not a broker, I'm not an agent. You can't retain me. I don't take a percentage of your deals. I teach you, I educate you, and you keep everything, basically, right? And so that model just, I don't know, people had a hard time understanding that at first, right? And so I never thought okay, I don't know what the business looks like. Obviously, fast forward to today, it makes a lot more sense in retrospect, with the courses and the coaching and all that stuff too. But when I started it really, I was not being as intentional like that, right? And so the really interesting thing I think about this business is that, there is a very clear ROI when you hire me to coach you or to go through my, courses or anything like that. You pay, $1,500 for the course or whatever, or $1,000 a month for coaching or whatever. And then you get a 5, 10, 50,000 brand deal, right? And you make that ROI very quickly. And I'm not dumb. I understand that there's a huge advantage to that in business, to be able to say to someone hey, I'm confident that if you invest money in me, you'll make it back very quickly, right? And because the ROI is so clear, I am inundated with advice from external people, and they're all very well-meaning. A lot of them are people I respect, a lot of them are friends and things like that. But everyone has been kind of in my ear saying, you gotta scale this. You gotta grow this. You gotta do paid ads. You gotta, hire a sales team. You gotta do all these things. And I've been very resistive of all of those things. And I've been quite reflective about why that might be. Here, I'm recording, as I didn't even mention, I'm in a totally different studio right now. I'm at the Craft and Commerce Conference in Boise, Idaho, and they just announced that they have this amazing studio space that they built out for any ConvertKit customer. But a lot of the panels and I was in particular at a mastermind yesterday where we were talking about some of this kind of vulnerability, a lot of the fear-based decisions that a lot of us make. Part of the exercise was kind of doing some journaling. And this is what came up for me was the fear that, let's say there's something specific, which is growing, part of our coaching program. But that will require, to be able to support our students in the way that I want to, it will require more resources, right? Namely, probably hiring more people, right? And even though I'm excited about the impact, I immediately go back to the trauma of having to lay off my employees, right? It's okay, well, if I start growing the head count, yeah, things are going well now, but I thought things were going well with the agency for a long time, and then everything crumbled. And so I've been really struggling with this balance of how big do I want this company to be? I know everyone is, telling me that I've got the tiger by the tail, and you should do all these funnels and, implement all these next level strategies and hire a paid ads team and do all these things, right? And I don't really know if I want that. I've talked a bit about the fact that my kids are getting older. They're 7 and 10 now, still young, but my oldest especially, he's going to be in 5th grade next year. And I keep thinking about the fact that, it's not going to be that many more years until he wants to hang out with his friends more than me and my wife. And that terrifies me. It terrifies me. And so I'm sitting here thinking, like, how do I balance the momentum that I'm feeling in the business with the fact that I want to maximize time that I spend with my wife and my sons? It's so hard, especially when you're self-employed, especially when you're a creator and you don't have a guaranteed paycheck. There's always this feeling of like, well, I gotta keep the wheels rolling. Especially, I have a team. I have, several employees already. And it's like, who am I to try to slow down the momentum and try to ruin a kind of a good thing? And so I feel very stuck. I don't have the answer. I just decided I would film this episode. I don't really have like a moral or a lesson or something that I'm trying to get across. And maybe it's as much therapy as it is to like maybe help some of you out there who might be struggling with a similar crossroads, because there just doesn't really seem like a right answer to this. Or even like, what is the balance? How do I figure it out? Like, is there a revenue goal per year that I should hit? Or a certain level of expenses that I shouldn't exceed? Is there a certain arbitrary employee headcount number that I shouldn't exceed? I don't know. I don't really have all the answers. I have some answers because I ran the agency and I had employees and all, and know how that felt and everything. Specifically, I know how stressful that was. At the height, my payroll for my agency was $50K a month, which is, I don't know, maybe to some people it's not that much, but to me it was a lot. It was like, I was responsible for a lot of people's livelihoods. And so it's like balancing my impact aspirations and, let's be frank, like my revenue aspirations, because let's just get into it, okay? For the last like 13 or 14 years, my wife has kind of been the sole breadwinner. We have worked together, obviously. And when I say sole breadwinner, it's because a lot of the brand partnership opportunities that have come inbound for our personal social media business has been because they wanted to work with April. She has built her handle or her platforms that she grew. It was her first. Obviously, we created our YouTube channel, one of our YouTube channels together, and I have my own Instagram and things like that. But mainly, it was like brands wanted to work with April. And I was in the content a lot because I was her husband, but it was mainly her. And that was a lot of pressure on her. Being a new mom, the pressures of, she has shared this, of like body image issues, being a new mom, the scrutiny that comes with sharing your personal life on the internet, the pressure of, when I ultimately quit my job and we started doing it together, like all of your family's income eggs in one basket is like super stressful, right? And also, she's shared this, that, we were supporting her mom before she so sadly passed away a few years ago. And so it was so much pressure on her, and I felt so helpless because, yes, of course I was helping in the background and all this stuff too, but it was on her. It was all on her. And so for the longest time, it's been this like dream of mine to allow her to kind of slow down and to be able to say like, hey, you don't have to take that deal, or you don't have to do this opportunity. You don't have to do that anymore because I got you. And that was one of the reasons why I started the agency, frankly, to diversify our family's income. But it hasn't been until, frankly, like the last year or two. And even in the last like really 12 months, where I, in earnest, was able to be like, you can actually slow down now. You don't need to be at the breakneck pace on the content hamster wheel that you've been at for the last like 13 years, 14 years or whatever. And so I feel so amazingly privileged, and I do not take for granted the fact that I have now reached that moment. And yet it comes with a different type of pressure where it's like, okay, now it really is all on me. And like, who am I to slow down the momentum, knowing like of what I'm now able to do and be able to provide for my family in the way that I've always wanted to. And so it's this really weird balance because on the one hand, it's like I want to optimize and maximize like time that I spend with my family, but on the other end, it's like I can't take my eye off the ball too much, because what if things fall apart and then all the promises that I made to April, I won't be able to keep those, like I wasn't able to keep those with the agency to her. And again, like a lot of this, like all of this is in my head. She's never ever like blamed me for it. I love you, honey. Like you've always been the most supportive person. I can't believe how lucky I got marrying you. I mean, side note, like you never really know your person until you go through adversity. Like, of course, we had an amazing courtship and all this stuff too, but it's like, that's the honeymoon phase and things are great. But like when you come into adversity as a couple, as a family, it really tests you, you know? And she has always been there for me, even at my lowest points. And so, April, I love you. But it's been eating at me, because it's like, and there's so many things, man, I don't know how long this video is going to turn out to be, but like, there's like a very clear path that I see right now where it's like, I'm going to publish my book, probably, I'm hoping around January, like New Year, I'm going to publish the book. And I just know, I have this gut feeling, and I'm not trying to be cocky, I'm not trying to be arrogant, I think it's going to do well. I know it's going to do well. I'm just not going to hedge. I know it's going to do well because it's so good. I know that it's going to help people. Like, I know it. Like, I have no doubt in my mind. And that is going to bring more opportunities. I'm launching the conference next year, the Sponsorship Strategy Summit. I know that's going to bring new opportunities. And so it's like I'm building out this little creator wizard universe right here, and it's all the things I really am passionate and excited to do. But it's like I almost feel like it's almost this kind of runaway freight train where it's like I've created something that I can't stop it. And so I don't know what this means. I don't know if this means I'm going to change something about my business or if I'm going to do anything at all. But it's like, I don't know, maybe just being aware of the fact that there's friction here of like, maybe I build a business to a certain level, and instead of like scale, like everyone is saying that I should probably do, I just kind of keep it at this nice level. I keep it at this like lifestyle business type level where we're very comfortable. I'm in love with, everything that I'm doing. I'm going to share something here that I've never shared, which is that I've had 2 acquisition offers for Creator Wizard, and I turned them both down. And this is one of the things that led me to a lot of this kind of existential like crisis that I'm having. I wouldn't even call it a crisis, but it really forced me to think like, okay, let's play that out. What do? I sell the business. I have to stick around, for a year, 2 years, some sort of maybe earn out, hit performance goals. There's going to be some sort of non-compete where I can't do something in a similar arena for a certain time period as well. And then what? What am I going to do? I'm going to sit on a beach for a little bit. I'm going to travel. Like my kids, we're not going to pick up and move and become digital nomads or something. Like they've developed roots in the place that we live, sports, and we're into scouting and all this stuff, right? So like, I don't know, that's not what I want to do. And so I heard this quote somewhere, I don't remember where, it was like, what do you want to do on a random Tuesday at 2 p.m. in February? And it's this is what I want to do. I want to help people with sponsorships. I love it. I get so fired up when I help someone get their very first deal, or I help someone, go from $1,000 to $10,000 on a deal through some negotiation tactics, or helping the brand understand, how they can serve them. I get so fired up about that. Or a new one for me actually is helping someone who previously didn't think that sponsorships were for them, and having a 5-minute conversation with them and them saying, I'm going to think about this a bit more because maybe I've been looking at this the wrong way. I've had so many conversations here in these kind of in-person environments like that. That fires me up. Holy cow, that fires me up. And so I don't know where this leaves me. I don't have the answer. I don't really know. And I think that maybe that's the point, is that this whole creator game, this whole solopreneur type business thing where you're self-employed and you're not reliant on some other entity for a paycheck. There's no one telling you what the right answer is. There's no one saying like, here's your KPIs, here's the milestones that you need to hit. You have to invent those for yourself. And perhaps the beauty of it is that process of invention is really the fulfilling part. And I think that's where I've landed is like, I just have to make a decision and feel confident that it was the best decision that I could make at that time and not look back. And whatever happens, whatever comes up, it doesn't change the fact that it was the best decision I could make at that time. And I'll have to deal with the consequences, whether it's positive or negative. So that's where I'm at. Does this resonate at all with you? If it does, leave a comment below with kind of where you're at, where your head is at. Mostly so I can feel like not alone in this crazy job that we've all picked. Thank you for listening. This was a very different kind of episode. If you want more of these types of things, let me know. I'm just kind of going with it. But thanks for watching.